Caleb, was Lucas in full training today?
No. He was working with medical staff. Just did a little bit of movement on the pitch, but 15 minutes. That's it. Yeah.
Kind of a day-by-day thing for his availability then?
Yeah, he's feeling a little bit better. We PRP'd him last week in that area on the lateral side of his knee where the IT band kind of comes into the kneecap. It's been inflamed, it's been sore. Like I said, he's been managing it for several weeks, but it got extra flared up last week and meant he wasn't available. So obviously could have used him, but again, I thought with the group that we had a really good defensive performance to get the point.
And Milos, I think, came off toward the end of the game. What's kind of his status? How's he feeling?
Yeah, hamstring, grade 1, so shouldn't be long. We'll see. It might be tight for this week, but he was feeling pretty good today, but obviously had to come out of the game.
And you had talked about after the game just needing to improve at the striker position. So is it you still believe in Miguel, but just right now can't be, I guess, reliant on he being a guy that's going to get goals every single week?
Yeah, well, I think when you look at your roster, right, and how you can maximize your cap, we still feel Miguel is a very good piece. But obviously the opportunity arose with the offer from Colorado and with obviously playing time that Gyasi was given and where we felt Miguel was at, which we felt was he was equal or slightly with some development, could be even better, whereas we felt Gyasi was kind of on the decline of his career. Still a good player, but opens up a DP spot for us. Obviously, is it perfect timing? It could have been 2 months prior, it could have been 2 months later, but you got to strike when the iron's hot. Obviously got that offer, and at the end of the day, for us to improve in our attack, we needed to open up cap space, and this allowed us to open up a designated player space, which is the best case scenario. And for a guy that is an off and on starter for us right now, it made sense for us to make that move. And obviously, in speaking with Gyasi, it made sense for him as well because he needs to be playing to have a chance to make that World Cup roster. And with his contract up again, he needs to be playing to get a new contract. So we didn't want to sit there with 2 strikers, one that's not a DP and pretty good bang for your buck in terms of salaries on a guy that is a DP. It just doesn't make sense to continue to go much for longer. We need to get better, and this allows us to get better in the attack.
And we agreed and saw preseason. You said you had 2 starting players there. Are you a little surprised that just the goals haven't come from that position? And I guess on top of that, were you always considering upgrading there, regardless of what their production is like?
Yeah, we were always considering upgrading, and we considered doing it in the offseason, frankly, but you want to make sure that you have a player available and ready, and the summer transfers a better opportunity for us to find the best attacking player possible for our future. So it meant that we had always kind of planned to eventually make a move, just dependent on the timing, dependent on the form of the team, form of Gyasi, and of course the offer. And there is a risk the longer you go that because of his contract situation that it gets tougher and tougher to move that piece to open up that spot. So in the perfect world, maybe a month or 2 from now would have been better timing, but ultimately, we might not have been able to move him then. Mm-hmm. So in the end, we had the fish on the hook, and we had to make the move.
And I guess on that note, what qualities most are you looking for in whatever DP you go after signing? And 2, you had mentioned it takes a few years for like international guys to kind of blend into the environment. How much, I guess, is that kind of a factor? Is that not as much with the forward spot too?
It's not as much with a DP.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, a designated player rarely takes time to adapt. You saw that with Lucas Zellerand. You see that with almost every designated player in the league. So the foreign guys that have a little bit less quality, that on our lower budget numbers, those are the guys that sometimes take time to adapt. But a designated player for a reason. They have top end quality, and that's what we're looking for. Moving forward, we need goals. Obviously, we need a consistent goal scorer, and we still feel Miguel Berry is a very good player for us and a very good piece, especially with again, looking at the cap, the budget hit that he's on, and the age that he is, and the upside that he has. But when you look at the best teams in the league, they have a goal scorer that, not one out of every 4 games, but one out of every 2 games. That's why those teams, are consistently winning versus, not consistently winning. And at the end of the day, the winning comes in the form of having a guy that can consistently score goals, and is a consistent threat. And we need someone of that quality here in this club this year and moving forward. In the short term, though, we'll continue to grind for results. We expect to still win games, including this one, next game at home. And Miguel will still be a very valuable piece for us, and we still feel he can score goals. But again, and open up the opportunity, this was the time. And we have players, we've scouted, we have options, and it's just a matter of pulling the trigger. And obviously it's tight for this next window that closes in a week. But the summer window, you can expect that we're going to have a very good attacking piece joining our club.
Gyasi's a guy who had started, I think, all but last year, started 20 plus games with the club. What was it that, did you just see the fall off begin to happen? I mean, why did he all of a sudden become a guy who, is a backup to Miguel and movable?
Yeah, I don't know. It happens to every player, right? It happens to every player, as they start to get at that time. And, good clubs move players that, are right at that time, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but again, in this case, it was good for the club and good for the player. So it was a mutual, really. Many times it's not a mutual, but this was a conversation that was had ahead of time, and it was signed. Gyasi signed off on this and agreed to this, and it was important that we had that discussion with him because of the type of player that he is and what he did for our club and how much respect that we have for him and his family. But I think it was inevitable. He knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. We talked a little bit in the off season. The contract being a factor, and why wait till the end of the year when the production's not there? I did start Gyasi 2 games, so it wasn't like I didn't give him a chance. He did come off the bench several times. But I just started seeing him kind of miss chances that maybe he would normally make. I do think he still has his legs, and he runs hard and works hard. That's going to help him in Colorado. And listen, he's going to keep scoring goals. It's not like he's not going to go there and score goals, but we need a 50 to 20 goal scorer minimum. There's not a good team in the league that doesn't get that, consistently, and we need that. And we just feel like, right now is the time. He's not on the up. I'd say he's not falling off the cliff like some players do, but slowly he's going to start to go down every year because of his age. And again, we just need a little bit more. We just need a little bit more. And you saw Shabelko, good example of a guy that was moved, and you say, well, he's pretty good. Well, they're doing pretty well without him, because they made a move. And I think sometimes you just got to make moves before they fall off that cliff. Otherwise, you get no value either. And in his contract situation, we weren't going to get any value at the end of the year whatsoever. So it's a hard decision and move to make because we love Gyasi, the players love him, but also we have to do what's right for the club. And it's obvious in the first 8 games that we need a top goal scorer. And so and it's obvious he needs to be playing to make a World Cup. So we shook hands, we hugged. He'll be a legend here. Hopefully we get a chance to honor him at some point, similar to what we did with Pipa. But we have to keep making emotions aside. We have to keep making the right decisions for the club, because there are many times you make emotional decisions, and at the end of the day, then now you lose too many games, and ultimately you don't evolve as a club. So, I think this one was just, even though it hurt short term for him, us, everyone, the fans, we don't take that lightly. It is going to help our club get better, and I hope the supporters understand that once the dust settles. We're trying to do the right thing for the club, we really are. And keeping Gyasi here till the end of the year is not going to help us maximize doing the right things for this club in terms of cap.
Looking back at Saturday, what did you like about that group, formationally, tactically, that you guys were, you talked about just getting something positive out of that game and a point. What did you like about what they were able to do?
Yeah, well, first of all, we talked about last year how we went through a rough patch and that we weren't able to even get a point, and how if we would have got 1 point, we would have been in the playoffs, and so I think it was very important for this group to change the momentum. The momentum was on a downswing, on a negative, right? 3 results, the Open Cup as well. And now we're staring a road game in a very difficult place. It's one of the best environments in the league. Obviously, they're not having a great run of form as well, but it's still a very dangerous and difficult game to play on the road. And then to top it off, we don't have our best attacking player. We don't have Luis Diaz. So we're missing some pieces. So I thought for our group to go on the road and have one of our best defensive performances of the year. I think they had a .40 expected goals, and if you take out the one set piece, that was a .32. They had a .08 chance creation on the day. So defensively, I thought it was excellent, and in any normal situation on the road, that would have been an excellent result. It's still for us a good momentum changer, because it stops the bleeding and allows us now to change that momentum in a positive way, to come back at home now. And there are 9 teams within 2 points of each other. I hate to say it, no one wants to hear it, but everybody pretty much has the same record outside of the top 3. And 1 win, and we're right there. I don't know, is it 4th, is it 5th? But we're right there back in the thick of things. And so, yes, we can build on it. This next game, we got to score goals, and we need to win. But it changes the momentum. It gives guys a little bit of belief. I really liked the 4-3-3, the shape, how honest it was. They had a really hard time breaking it down. I thought we should have scored a couple goals in the first 15 minutes. Two really good moments. Yao's very good chance. He's just got to take a touch on his left foot and bury it. Maybe the guy takes him down, seal the play off, and then Miguel has a good run where he just doesn't pull the trigger. A couple other good half chances, but again, I said 4 points in those 2 games puts us back in the thick of the race. So, mindset now is on these 3 points and scoring goals. And I say that again, on scoring goals, okay? Because we're not doing cartwheels over another game not scoring goals or on a draw, but in any season, you gotta stop the bleeding, and we did this year. And now hopefully we can get the 3 points. And then now we've pulled out of this rough patch a lot sooner than last year, and now we're good. And this rough patch now becomes smaller, because every team's gonna have a rough patch. But if that turns to 4, the pressure increases, the momentum continues to slide, and confidence is very delicate. So I think our guys preserve some confidence, and I thought we, for having lost 3 games, had a really good mentality, really strong mentally, and didn't get rattled, and very organized. And we got good performances from pretty much, I said 7-8, I actually think it's about 8-9. Couple guys in the attack still, we got to work with their confidence. But I will say, guys, we got to continue to focus on our strengths. And right now our strengths are we're a very good defensive team, and we have a good mentality, and we have to stick with that and build from that. and try to pinch a goal. You know, and we're going to be doing that for the next couple months until we get a top striker. But Miguel Berry's going to be in our plans. He's going to play a role in this club, and he's got a couple months to show that he can even fight for minutes up top if we play a 2 front. But we're not writing him off. We still very much believe in him. But again, going back to the decision, when you have 2 strikers and one's on a certain budget, one's on another budget, and they're both sharing time, you know, we got to roll with the one on the lower budget that's going to develop, and then it opens up us improving.
And James, this was, aside from the Open Cup, our first real extended chance to watch him. What did you like about what he brought? I know that's not necessarily his natural spot, but it seemed like he was another bright spot out there.
Yeah, I really like the 3-man midfield of, you know, Artur, Darlington, and Aiden Morris. Very honest, very tough defensively. In some ways we were able, especially early, to open up some transitions through them. We turned the opponent over a bit more through there in the middle. James can slide in there in that spot, but I also think he's just a soccer player. He can play anywhere. He can play on the wing. He can play in the middle. Good engine, really smart player, good range. And I was talking to him today. I think it's the first time, maybe in his career, that he's played essentially 2 90s in 5 days. You know, so for him, I hope the supporters can see how hungry he is, even for a guy on a loan to come in and grind and want to win for the club. The first tackle of the game, he's throwing his head. You know, that's what I'm talking about, you know, putting your body on the line. He throws his head into a play, you know, a minute into the game. You could just see the hunger. And I think the whole group had a hunger, you know, that was really important to see, and for me to know that that's there, and for the supporters, I think, for them to see that this club is fighting. We are in every game, and we are fighting, and this group is together, and we're united, and you know, you're going to see that every single game, and I think that's different. You know, that game, last game, versus that stretch we went through. For me, it's easy to see the difference, you know, of the mentality and the fight and the unity that this team has. But the reality is we have to come back and get 3 points now at home. Thanks, guys.